Abigail, a beautiful and hard-working young woman, was a successful professional. She met Michael when they collided at a local cafe, and she spilled coffee on Michael's suit. From that moment on, the two developed a beautiful relationship. Shortly before their wedding, an unexpected twist occurred in Abigail's life. After months of a beautiful relationship, Michael decided to propose to Abigail. Days passed, however. Abigail, who had always taken pride in her stable career at the bank where she had worked since graduation, faced a devastating blow. She was unexpectedly fired. The news came like a bolt out of the blue, shaking not only her financial security but also her self-esteem. Abigail vividly remembered that fateful day. Sitting in front of her boss, her hands trembled discreetly as he explained the reasons for her dismissal. Company restructuring, cost-cutting, words that sounded hollow to her ears. "But I've always given my best," Abigail argued. Her voice choked with a mix of disbelief and despair. "It's not a matter of performance, Abigail. You're one of the best we have, but decisions come from above," her boss replied, looking genuinely regretful. Abigail left the office that day feeling like the ground had disappeared from beneath her feet. The news of her dismissal couldn't have come at a worse time, with the wedding approaching. The nights that followed were filled with insomnia and worry. How could she contribute to the life she and Michael were planning together? However, fate sometimes has a peculiar way of redeeming itself. Thanks to her impeccable reputation and the network of contacts she had built over the years, an opportunity arose when she least expected it. A call from a competing bank came, offering her an interview for an even more prestigious position. Abigail seized the opportunity with both hands. On the crucial day of the interview, Abigail meticulously prepared herself, aware that every detail could make a difference. She dressed in her finest suit, an elegant navy blue one that accentuated the color of her eyes and pinned her blonde hair into a sophisticated bun. In front of the mirror, she practiced her most confident smile, repeating words of encouragement to herself. "You are strong, capable, and deserving of this opportunity," Abigail whispered, trying to calm the nerves that danced in her stomach. Arriving at the competing bank, an imposing glass and steel building, she took a deep breath before entering, feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. The receptionist greeted her with a friendly smile and escorted her to the waiting room. "Mrs. Helena Carter will see you shortly. She's looking forward to meeting you," the receptionist said, making Abigail even more anxious. When the time came, Abigail was escorted to the director's office. She held the doorknob, took a deep breath, and entered, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. However, nothing could have prepared her for what she saw. Before her, behind a large mahogany desk, was a woman who was her mirrored image. The resemblance was so striking that for a moment, Abigail thought she was looking at her reflection in a mirror. The woman, who must have been Helena Carter, had the same blonde hair, the same piercing blue eyes, and even a smile that seemed to echo Abigail's. For a moment, they both stood in silence, just observing each other with a mixture of surprise and disbelief. Finally, Helena broke the silence, her voice as familiar as her appearance. "Incredible," she murmured. "I knew from your resume that you were an impressive candidate, Abigail, but this is extraordinary." Abigail, still in shock, managed to reply. I don't know what to say." Helena got up and walked around the table, approaching Abigail. "I always knew I had a twin sister. My grandparents told me, but I never thought I would find you like this so unexpectedly. I got your contact information and time passed. And when I saw the name on the resume, I scheduled the interview, but I never thought it would actually be you, my twin sister." Abigail felt the ground shift beneath her feet. "Twin sister," she repeated, her voice almost a whisper. "But I was adopted. I always knew that, but I never knew about you." Helena extended her hand and Abigail instinctively held it. "It looks like we have a lot to talk about," Helena said, a shy smile forming on her lips. "But first, let's deal with your interview. After all, that's why you came." As they sat down, a new chapter in Abigail's life began to unfold. a chapter full of possibilities and unexpected discoveries. During the interview, the conversation between Abigail and Helena quickly veered away from professional topics to something much more personal and extraordinary. Sitting face to face, the two women shared not only a striking physical resemblance but also an intertwined past that neither of them could have imagined. "You say you were adopted?" Helena asked, her expression a mix of curiosity and emotion. "I always knew I had a sister, but our parents never knew what happened to you after the incident." Abigail, still trying to absorb the reality of the situation, the conversation nodded slowly. "My adoptive parents told me I was adopted when I was very young, after an accident that took our biological parents' lives." Helena took a deep breath. Painful memories reflected in her eyes. "It was a fire. Our parents died and we were separated. I was raised by our maternal grandparents. They gave me all the love and comfort, but the loss and separation, they've always been a shadow in my life." The two women shared a silence laden with emotion, their hands still intertwined on the table. "I had pictures of you, knew that somewhere in the world I had a twin sister, but I never imagined I would find her like this. And for a job interview of all things," Helena said, a trembling smile forming on her face. Abigail felt tears welling up in her eyes. "I've always wondered about my biological family, but my adoptive parents, they're incredible. They've given me so much love, so much attention. I didn't know I was missing a part of myself." Helena stood up, circling the table to embrace Abigail. "You're not missing anymore, Abigail. We found each other now," she said, her voice choked with emotion. Abigail returned the hug, feeling an instant and profound bond forming between them. "I have a sister," she whispered, a sense of completeness filling her heart. Helena pulled away, wiping away tears. "We have a lot to talk about, a lot to discover about each other. Fate, in its unpredictable nature, sometimes traces paths that are unimaginably tortuous and painful." For Abigail and Helena, newly reunited twin sisters after a lifetime apart, the joy of reunion was abruptly replaced by an unthinkable tragedy. Abigail, while driving home after a meeting with Helena, suffered a fatal accident. A stormy night, a slippery road, and a moment of bad luck culminated in a disaster that prematurely ended Abigail's life. The news reached Helena like a devastating lightning strike. Sitting in her office, the phone still trembling in her hand, she felt as if the ground had opened up beneath her. "It can't be true," she whispered, her voice a mix of denial and despair. Days later, as Helena gazed at Abigail's closed casket, an idea as desperate as it was extraordinary began to form in her mind. She thought of Abigail's adoptive parents who would face the loss of their adopted daughter. "They don't deserve to go through this," Helena murmured to herself, a resolution taking shape. Helena began to arrange the funeral, and then with determination she decided to assume Abigail's identity, as her maternal grandparents had passed away, and she had no other close relationships. She decided not to tell Abigail's relatives about her death. Helena knew it was a complicated and risky charade, but she felt it was the only way to spare Abigail's adoptive parents from the unbearable pain of loss. Helena knew that the most challenging task would be maintaining the disguise with Michael, Abigail's fiancé. Wearing Abigail's clothes and adopting her mannerisms, Helena met with him. "Michael, Helena began, her voice trembling as she tried to maintain the facade. Michael didn't notice the difference as he was immersed in wedding preparations, didn't notice. "Abigail, I'm so happy to have you. I don't know what I would do without you," he said, embracing her tightly. Helena, in the midst of the hug, felt the weight of her decision. She knew she was embarking on a path full of uncertainties and potential painful consequences. But to her, in that moment of intense emotion, it seemed like the only way to spare more hearts from being shattered by the cruel hand of fate. So Helena, already in the role of being her twin sister, told Michael that she had landed the job at the company where she had interviewed, and it would serve as the perfect cover for her to maintain her two lives. What would you do in Helena's place? Would you assume your twin sister Abigail's identity? And if you did take on your sister's role, how far would you carry this lie? Would you even marry your sister's fiancé? Or would you tell Abigail's adoptive parents about her passing, as it would be the right thing to do? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Time passed, and the wedding day arrived. A day that should have been marked by the celebration of Michael and Abigail's love was a blessing, about to become a stage for surprising revelations and overwhelming emotions. At the altar, under the arch decorated with delicate flowers, Helena, disguised as Abigail, faced a crowd of familiar faces, her eyes scanning the sea of guests before settling on Michael. Her heart was pounding, each beat an echo of her anguish and determination. By her side, Michael, immersed in happiness, could hardly believe he was finally marrying the woman he loved. He looked at Helena, his smile radiant and expectant. But when his eyes met hers, something in the depths of Helena's gaze made his smile falter. Helena at that moment couldn't hide the truth anymore and then said, "There's something I need to say." Helena began, her voice trembling but clear. "The woman you met and loved? Abigail. It's not me." A confused murmur spread among the guests as Michael furrowed his brow, not understanding. "Abigail, what are you saying?" he asked, confused and worried. Helena took a deep breath, gathering all the courage she had. "My name is Helena. Abigail was my twin sister. A tragic accident took her from us and I took her place." The ensuing silence was absolute. A vacuum of shock and disbelief that enveloped everyone present. Michael's eyes widened, his expression shifting from confusion to shock and then to painful understanding. Twin sister accident, but why? Why would you do this? Helena, tears beginning to roll down her cheeks, replied, "I didn't want her parents to suffer another loss, and I thought I could spare you too." Michael took a step back, his mind struggling to assimilate the devastating truth. The guests, equally shocked, began to whisper among themselves, trying to grasp the magnitude of what had just been revealed. Helena looked at Michael, love and pain evident on her face. "I'm so sorry, Michael. I never meant to deceive you. I just wanted to protect those Abigail loved." As Helena spoke, what should have been a moment of joy turned into one of mourning and revelation, leaving everyone, especially Michael, in a state of deep emotion and bewilderment. The truth had been revealed, but the reality of what it meant for all of them was yet to be understood. After this revelation, the wedding did not take place following the tumultuous and emotional events of the revelation at the altar. Helena felt it was her duty to lead Michael and Abigail adoptive parents to her sister's final resting place. It was a grey day, the sky covered in heavy clouds, as if nature itself shared in the grief and sorrow that marked that moment. They arrived at the cemetery, a serene place where tall trees swayed gently in the wind, creating a whispering sound that seemed to carry the many untold stories of those who rested there. Abigail's newly constructed grave was simple but elegant, an immaculate white stone with her name delicately engraved. Michael, walking alongside Helena, was visibly shaken. His steps were heavy, each one seeming to carry the weight of betrayal and loss, he felt. Upon reaching the grave, he stopped, gazing at the headstone with an expression of deep pain. I don't know what to say," Michael murmured, his words almost lost in the wind. "I loved Abigail, and now I feel like I've lost her twice." Abigail's adoptive parents, holding hands, cried silently, grateful that Helena had shared the truth but torn apart by the irreparable loss. "Our girl," the adoptive mother whispered, "she will always be in our hearts." Helena, standing beside them, tears streaming down her face, said, "I just wanted to protect all of you. Abigail loved each one of you so deeply. I thought that by taking her place, I could preserve some of the love and joy she brought into our lives." Michael, looking at Helena, responded with a choked voice, "But you're not Abigail. And while I try to understand your reasons, the fact that I was deceived, it hurts, Helena. It hurts so much. I know that nothing I say now can change what happened." Helena spoke, her voice trembling. "And I will accept any decision you make. If you need time, space, I understand." They remained there, together in silence, each immersed in their own pain and reflection. It was a moment of farewell, not only to Abigail, but also to a reality they all thought they knew. For Michael, it was the beginning of a path of healing and acceptance, a path he knew he would have to walk alone. Months had passed since the day Michael's world was shaken by Helena's revelations. Time in its constant and inexorable march had brought a kind of silent though incomplete healing to both of them. Autumn was giving way to winter, and the leaves that had once danced in the wind now lay inert on the ground. It was in this backdrop of change and renewal that Helena and Michael found themselves again, almost by chance, in a small-town cafe, a place that used to be special to Michael and Abigail, as it was where they had met. Entering the cafe, Michael saw Helena sitting by the window, a cup of coffee in her trembling hands. Their eyes met, and for a moment both hesitated, tethered to the past and their still sensitive wounds. Michael took a deep breath and approached. The decision to confront the past and its consequences reflected in his eyes. Michael asked, his voice firmer than he expected. Helena nodded, moving slightly to make room for him. "I come here from time to time," Michael replied. "It helps me remember and at the same time forget." They looked at each other, a comfortable silence settling between them. "How are you?" Helena finally broke the silence. Michael sighed. "I'm surviving, I suppose." "And you?" "In the same way," Helena admitted. "It's been difficult, but I'm trying to move forward." There was a pause during which both took a sip of their coffees, steam rising like a curtain between them. "Helena, I've been thinking a lot," Michael began, "about everything that happened, and I understand why you did what you did. I can't say I agree or that it didn't hurt me, but I understand." Helena looked at him, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "Michael, I never meant to hurt you. I was lost in my own pain and thought I was doing the right thing." Michael nodded. "I know, and I miss you. Not just Abigail, but you. We shared something special during those months. Something real." Helena briefly touched Michael's hand, a gesture of gratitude and recognition. "I missed you too," she confessed. "You were a friend, a support when I needed it the most." Words flowed between them now, more easily than before. A river of confessions and feelings that had been suppressed. They talked about their lives, their dreams, and the scars each carried, and in the midst of this sincere exchange something new began to emerge, a sense of understanding, of connection, a tacit promise of mutual healing. As they left the cafe, the sun was already setting, casting a golden glow over the city. Michael and Helena walked together, not as lovers, but as two souls who had found solace and understanding in each other. And as they walked, the possibility of a new beginning, an uncertain but hopeful future, unfolded before them. Helena and Michael's journey, marked by complex emotions and unexpected revelations, guided them to a place of mutual understanding and renewed love. Over time, what started as a meeting of wounded souls blossomed into a deep relationship based on honesty and mutual respect. Time passed and their friendship grew into a relationship until they decided to get married, not with the pomp and circumstance of a traditional ceremony, but in a simple and intimate way that reflected the sincerity of the love they shared. In a small chapel by the lakeside, surrounded by a select group of friends and family, Helena and Michael exchanged their vows. The day was clear and serene, the sun shining on the tranquil waters of the lake, as if nature were blessing their union. "I never imagined finding love and peace after so much pain," Michael said, looking into Helena's eyes during the vow exchange. "But you showed me that even from the most tragic circumstances, something wonderful can arise." Helena, holding Michael's hands, responded with a voice filled with emotion. "You taught me to trust again, to believe in love. Together we've overcome the pain and found hope. I promise to love and support you in all our days." After the ceremony, as they received congratulations from their loved ones, Helena shared exciting news with Michael, a revelation that added another layer of joy to the day. "Michael, we are going to have a baby," she said, her eyes shining with happiness and anticipation. Michael, taken by surprise and joy, embraced Helena tightly. "This is incredible, Helena. I am speechless." Over the following months, as they prepared for the arrival of the new family member, Helena and Michael decided on the baby's name. "Let's name her Abigail," Helena suggested one evening, as they lounged on the living room couch. "It will be a way to keep my sister's memory alive and honor the woman who in such an unusual way brought our paths together." Michael, lovingly caressing Helena's belly, agreed with a tender smile. "Abigail, it's perfect. She'll be a symbol of the love and strength we found together, a constant reminder of where our journey began and the future we are building together." Thus, surrounded by love and hope, Helena and Michael awaited Abigail's arrival, ready to begin a new chapter in their lives. A chapter full of promises and new beginnings. Thank you for traveling with us on this tale. Subscribe for more stories and don't forget to ring the bell so you won't miss anything. A hug and until next time.